Welcome to the podcast, The Future of Sales. My name is Régis Lemmens and I'll be your host today, together with my special guest, Luc Jacobs. Welcome, Luc.
Welcome, Régis. How are you doing?
Fine. Luc, just to present you a little bit, because we know each other already for so many years. Luc, you've been a successful commercial sales guy in the telco industry. And for the past 10 years, I know that you've been the CEO and owner of a company called Nixxis, and you develop and you sell call center solution software to automate call centers. Is that correct?
Yes, that's true. After 10 very interesting years at a small pulp and paper production company called Nokia, where I used to sell telephones, I was able in 2012 to buy Nixxis, which is a publisher of contact center solutions, yes.
Oh, fantastic. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I want to really pick your brains and see what is your experience selling contact center solutions over the past 10 years. What was it pre-COVID? How is it today? But I'm also interested in hearing how contact solutions have evolved. What are the latest trends in terms of contact centers? Because, these guys are selling also. So this is also very relevant. So let's first focus on your experience at Nixxis. Tell us a little bit, if you go back 10 years ago and you compare it with today, how was sales different then versus what you experience today?
And let's put it this way. When I started with the company in 2012, we are selling, first of all, IT projects, right? Our sale is between 50,000 euros up to 1 million euros a year, approximately. And definitely it was 80% was present sale. That means you had to be present at the customer. You had to basically visit him to understand its needs and making sure that you sucked all the information possible, come back a few weeks later with a proposal and hoping to sell to the board. And that was 2012, 2015, right? Then the COVID came along, and of course we were all confronted to the fact that we had to stay home. And I was really afraid, saying that, okay, we have an 80% on-presence business. Will it still work in the future? And actually, 2020, 2021 were some of our best years. And the reason is that I think people are now used, and I would say in 2023 onwards, to buy pretty large projects and to give out a certain large amount of money on people they have never seen before. And this is very interesting. So that means that I think customers, of course, due to the confinement, they know they won't be able to see you. But today we went from 80% on-site to maybe 20% on-site, so on-premise sales that we would perform at the customer. And that is a big change for us.
And that's a big change. So customers trust you more. They don't need to see you physically to create a relationship. Is that what you're saying?
I think the trust is still there, but it's built by using other components. In the past, it was good to have a nice suit and a nice tie, and to be a good speaker, sell it to the board, and then the board would trust you, even if you are a small player. I think today it's more maybe your online reputation, the information that people can find about you on the internet, and maybe also from other customer that is going to make them, buy something from somebody they not know.
Okay, so the whole sales process is happening more and more remotely. What happens afterwards? What about the delivery? Is that also done remotely?
Well, the thing is yes, it happens that as I would even say that people we haven't seen in 2012, we wouldn't be able even to make a bid to them. Now today we make a bid. That's number one. We realized that you can't keep them, so they can take the decision to buy your products even without having met you before. But just after the sales, or I would say during or just after the sales, it's important that you sell you do some consultative selling by sending on site to the operational guys to reassure them that they made the right decision. You send some experienced guys like a CSM. Today it's called a customer success manager. It used to be called the technical pre-sales, post-sales, whatever. But today it's basically somebody that says, guys, we really understood your problem well via the internet, but we're going to bring you now the right solution. And that is something which is very different from the sales of 10 years ago. And please remember that was a sale that was 90% CapEx, 10% OpEx. Today, it's the other way around. Today, it's about 90% OpEx. That means they take a subscription of our solution. If they're not happy within 3 months, they can be with somebody else. And that means that our guys need to fight every day to make sure that the customer is happy. I'm always saying that we are the ones who build the building, and we try to rent the apartments, and we need to make sure that each of the renter is paying his rental every month.
So what I hear from what you're saying, Luc, is that in the past, because it was a CapEx, the customer was taking the risk. They were taking a risk to buy perhaps the wrong product. So they had to be very sure, they had to trust you. And one of the things to do to build up that trust was to see you personally. Today, what I hear from what you're saying, it's an OpEx, it's a cloud solution. So basically, they don't buy the software, they're just taking access to the software. And if it was the wrong one, well, they can always change. So they require less trust, less reassurance, because the risk level is lower for them. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. Absolutely. They first of all, you have this kind of shadow IT where you do bottom-up selling. You come up through the people, and the people say, "I've seen that solution. I think we should buy it." And then, of course, you definitely we need to fight every day. That's what I'm saying to my team. It's not coming up just with the right product, which is well delivered. You need to fight up every day in order to make sure we keep the customer on board and to avoid the churn. Thank God, I'm touching some wood, but today we have nearly no churn, so our product is very sticky. But it's a challenge for people which are accelerating on the marketing side and forgetting about that service component, which is basically creating reliability and trust from your customers.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So what we take from it is that in order to build trust face to face is still a very good channel to do so. But today what you're saying is when it comes to selling, we don't need that much trust anymore, because a lot of the risks remained with the supplier, that the customer doesn't take that much risk. However, once he starts implementing, it needs to be adapted. It's actually quite funny that you say we do consultative selling as soon as it is sold. When your success manager goes on site, then he actually starts the process. Is that correct?
Yes, the human bonds, the fact that we are together in the same boat is something that is today even more important after the sales than before the sale. And I would say, if you have to make a choice between, should I put a lot of money on my, let's say, pre-sales marketing side or on my post-sales service side, the balance has changed completely. And I would even say it's maybe coming from the fact that today pre-sales marketing money is cheaper than it used to be. You know, in the past, we had to be present into newspaper, television, and so on. Today, you can do everything just by being present on Facebook, Google, and LinkedIn. But that money that we save there, we have to reinvest it further into the service to make sure the product sticks and to make sure that people stay on board.
And that it becomes really a success. All right. Interestingly, Luc, in the discussion also in preparation of this podcast, you also told me a little bit about, deal management, the tender management. You say, well, in the past, when you would receive a tender and you haven't met the customer before, you wouldn't answer. Today, you Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so first of all, for us in our regions, in our market, in our IT business, making a bid 10 years ago was about like 10 to 15,000 euro costs that you would spend with consultants to do that. First of all, I can say that today it's much cheaper. It's a few thousand euro. It's still a lot of money. But what I mean here is that we've been able to automate it quite advanced using CRM information, things like that. At the same time, today it's the no bid parameter of a proposal was, do we know these guys? Do we have relationship? Was maximum 10 years ago. Today is not so important. If the customer comes to us now and send us a request for a proposition, we know that they've done their homework and that they use Gartner or somebody else, but that they basically have kept us on the graph, and the information that we are leaving online, make sure the credibility is there. So we still have a chance. I must say also that what I've seen in the latest RFP we receive is that the part of the sensitivity to prices is huge. There are a few deals which we didn't get for a few euros a month per user. So the sensitivity of pricing today is I think the more people want to and can change, the more they are sensitive on spending exactly what is required and not more, not less. And this is, I think, a very different compared from 10 years ago. Yeah.
Is that anything to do with COVID or with the inflation that is going on? Or is that something that you saw was evolving and is perhaps linked to the fact that all these solutions are very transparent, very comparable, and therefore customers are more price sensitive?
Yeah, I think yes. Our prices, a few years ago was difficult to know the price of the competitor. Today, everybody knows our prices. First of all, it's very easy on the internet to pretend you're somebody else and you ask a proposal to your competitors. And so that means you have all your competitors mapping in terms of prices. But it's more like on the other side. So sensitivity is high. Inflation, I'm not sure. It's just that today it's quite public. And also the margins are getting thinner and thinner. So if you want to be aggressive, and this deal is part of the 10 or 20 deals that you absolutely want to get for the years, you can say, we're going to lose a bit of money in the beginning, but we're going to make some money on the long term. Because that is, I think, the big difference. In the past used to be, let's send them CapEx licenses, take the money and run. Today is, let's make sure that they stay 5 to 6 years on our platform so that we make profit by the end of the 5 to 6 years. So I have many deals which me as a CEO have decided to take, knowing that in the first 12 to 18 months we were losing money. But I know that once the investment has been made from the customer side and also from our side with good services, it's from the 19th month onwards that everybody makes money and everybody's happy. So this is, let's say, a bit more dangerous for us in terms of financials. But in the end, it's just moving the part of money that was at the beginning and smoothen the curve of cash generated by project.
Yeah, it's over the lifetime really of the customer that we're looking at it now. Hey, Luc, I'm also interested a little bit now. We talked about how your sales has evolved, but I'm also interested to hear about how has call centers evolved over the last 10 years. In terms of you as a technology vendor, what technologies, and more specifically in terms of AI, what are the hot elements that you've seen in your industry?
Well, I must say, first of all, Nixxis is quite renowned on the market of having a very performant telemarketing, so outbound traffic generation tool. And what we have seen is that AI today is definitely there to make sure that you produce quality. One thing you need to know in contact centers is that it's only, in the past, used to be only 3 to 15% of all the conversation were heard or were listened to by a supervisor to make sure quality was made. Today, you can send 100% of all your conversation into a machine that will tell you that was said, that was the sentiment, that was the emotions, that was the intentions which have been expressed. And that means you can make sure you do quality all the time. That's number one, right?
All right.
Also, the feedback loop is much shorter. In the past, maybe it was only at the end of the week after the recording has been through a quality department that you do that some bad quality has been produced. Today, you knew it by the minute. So that means that basically a supervisor can call back the customer saying that, sorry, sir, this agent said something which is not right. I'm going to correct that, blah, blah, blah. So that means the customer service level has increased for sure,
Increased.
That's the strength point of AI. That's the reason, I think. Plus, all the conversation can be of course, you can you can take all of your conversation. How many times my customer did, namely, cite one of my competitor? Do they understand exactly what is the product value that I'm trying to get through? So everything can be measured, analyzed, and AI is also there to say to the agent, and that's the new trend that we see now, say to the agent what kind of personalized value proposition he could make. So making sure that we understand the needs of this customer, we put them into a specific micro segment where he should belong. And based on that, I'm only making a proposition which is only for him or for her. And I think that's one of the strengths of AI today is that you can get that information in real time while the conversation is ongoing.
All right. So AI in terms of analysis and analyzing the quality of the conversation, that's more natural language understanding and sentiment analysis. But also AI in terms of really going through databases and finding out patterns and saying, hey, for this customer, suggest these or these services or these products. That's correct?
Yes, absolutely. So, yes, absolutely. And so quality production, making sure you get feedback. In the end, our customers are faced with the same kind of challenge that we are. They want to keep their customer the longest possible. The resources are more and more expensive, so you need to be more efficient in your value proposition, in the way that they're going to be accepted by the customer, because you want to maximize this. It's not different that what Netflix is doing on my TV screen, proposing me the next series to watch because she knows, the machine knows that my friends have been interested by that. It's exactly the same that we do on the telephone today by using humans.
All right.
Régis,
thank you very much, Luc, for sharing all your insights with us. Just to summarize it, what did we hear? In the past, a lot of calls were done face-to-face. You used to visit customers in order to create the trust and relationships needed for customers to purchase your products, but it was a CapEx solution, so they were investing into your product. Today, we moved with cloud computing to an OpEx. It's a cost, but they don't invest. So customer require less trust, therefore requires less presence. And today you almost move from let's say what you said, about an 80% presence on site with clients to an almost 100% remote sales cycle. However, afterwards, because it's an OpEx solution, the risk is at your side. So we need to invest now into this deal. We need to bring the right people there, which you call the success manager, to make sure this project becomes a success. And that requires face-to-face contact. So face-to-face has moved much more to the post-sales, where now we've promised something, we actually need to realize it and make it happen. That was an interesting insight. Other insights that we've learned from you is the deal management, is that in the past, again, because of that trust, if a customer wouldn't have sent you a tender without having seen you before, you wouldn't have answered, because, somebody else would probably have already helped them to make the proposal. Today, because most of the time is spent online, customers find the information in order to make their own bids, you do decide, no, we have a chance, even if we haven't met the customer, and we do actually make a bid. Which changes really about how we go about bid management. And also, because everything is so transparent, pricing is becoming really one of the most important customer preferences which you need to focus on. Afterwards, we also talked about technology and how technology is evolving, and specifically we know that AI is a big impact in call center industry. It was interesting to hear from you and to understand how AI is actually helping call center managers to really analyze all the conversations that all the agents have and provide a feedback, which in the past was not possible, which is technically just not possible to listen to all conversations. AI can do it. AI can even go further. They can analyze it in real time and already give indications during the call. Interestingly as well, you were talking about how to customize, tailor approaches to clients, is how AI can, during the call, actually, based on the information that you capture from the customer, tailor really a solution to your customers. All interesting insights, and I thank you very much, Luc, for sharing them with us. Thank you for watching this podcast on the future of sales. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and hope to see you for the next podcast. Thank you.